People say marriages break in sudden cracks, affairs, betrayals, a single explosion that changes everything overnight. But mine didn't shatter in one moment. It eroded, slowly, quietly, like sand slipping through fingers. I am 41 years old. I have been married to Mike for 16 years, with him for 22. We have 3 children, 15, 13, and 7. And the man I stood before all those years ago, the man I swore to love in sickness and in health. He abandoned those vows long before I ever considered walking away. I remember our wedding day vividly. My dress wasn't extravagant, but it didn't matter. I thought the world was expanding around us, that the promises we whispered would be our shield. Forever, he said. Always, I replied. Those words feel like ghosts now. They echo in the corners of my mind whenever I ask myself, how did we get here? Because the truth is, forever turned out to be conditional. And always, well, always has an expiration date when one person stops showing up. Mike was an alcoholic early in our marriage. The first years were chaos, screaming matches. Nights I locked the bathroom door and pressed my back against it while he stumbled in the hallway. Rehab visits, broken promises, mornings filled with apologies that felt rehearsed. And yet, I stayed. I clung to those vows like a lifeline, in sickness and in health. I thought love meant endurance. I thought being strong meant carrying both of us until he found his footing. And when he did finally get sober 12 years ago, I believed it was our second chance. That now, finally, we would build the marriage we'd promised each other. But sobriety didn't bring him back to me. It just left behind a man who was physically present, but emotionally absent. A ghost. He didn't rage anymore, but he didn't laugh either. He didn't scream, but he didn't listen. He was there, but not with us. So I carried everything. The house, the bills, the kids' milestones, the first lost tooth, the middle school graduations, the scraped knees, and the bedtime stories. He was a shadow in the background while I was both mother and father, caregiver and provider, the glue that kept our family from splintering. And every night I crawled into bed beside him, wondering when exactly marriage had turned into single parenthood. Then came COVID. The world closed, and with it, Mike lost his job. And while everyone else seemed to rediscover family time, to huddle closer in the uncertainty, my husband only drifted further. I tried to help. I bought him a rental property to fix up, something to give him purpose. And at first, I told myself he was busy, productive. But then I noticed. He disappeared into that property, not for us, but away from us. The kids would set their plates at the dinner table, looking at the empty chair where their father should have been. And I'd force a smile, cutting their chicken, pouring their drinks, pretending it was okay. But it wasn't. The real fracture came last year. I started noticing things. Little cracks in the foundation I'd been patching for years. Money missing. Bank accounts not adding up. Venmo transfers that seemed suspicious. At first, I doubted myself. Was I tired? Was I imagining it? Maybe I'd made a mistake. But then I pulled every statement, every receipt. And when the numbers stared back at me, they hollowed me out. $80,000. Gone. He had drained us. Cash withdrawals, secret transfers, maxed out credit cards. When I confronted him, I braced for denial, for excuses. But he didn't even fight it. He admitted it, flat, emotionless, like confessing to forgetting to buy milk. He told me he was buying pills. Pills that weren't enough anymore. So he started snorting them. That moment, God, I don't even have words. It was as if every vow, every promise, every sacrifice I'd made was spat back in my face, in sickness and in health. I had lived those words. I had carried him through his sickness. But now, when it was his turn to choose health, to fight for us, for the children, he abandoned me. He abandoned all of us. And that betrayal cut deeper than the missing money ever could. I filed for divorce. Not out of anger, but out of necessity. It was survival, mine and my kids. But, of course, nothing is simple. Because his mother, his sweet, stubborn, blind to reality mother, she only knows fragments. I told her things aren't working, and she believed him when he spun his lies. That I'm cheating. that I've grown cold, that I just woke up one day and decided I didn't love him anymore. And now, when she looks at me, it's with this quiet frost. Not yelling, not accusing, just distance. A kind of disappointment that stings worse than shouting ever could. And worse still, she gave him money. A large sum. She believes it's to help him buy me out of the house. But I know the truth. That money is already gone, just like the 80,000 before it, up his nose, down the black hole of addiction. And so here I sit, torn apart by a question that feels impossible. Do I tell her? Do I tell his mother the truth? That her son is not the victim, that he's drowning himself in powder while she bankrolls his destruction? Do I expose him? Protect her? Pull the blindfold from her eyes? Or do I stay silent, knowing she'll see it as me trying to destroy his image? Knowing she'll turn that disappointment into outright hatred? Because that's what betrayal does. It doesn't just steal your trust. It steals your choices. It makes you question whether protecting yourself makes you the villain. Sometimes I lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, remembering that day in my white dress, the way he held my hands, the way he promised forever. And I think, how foolish I was to believe vows could carry us when he refused to carry them too. I kept my promises. Through his sickness, through his silence, through the years of loneliness where I was married, but utterly alone. But he walked away long before I did. First into a bottle, then into pills, and finally, into the arms of lies. He abandoned me. He abandoned our children. And most of all, he abandoned the vows we made. So yes, I filed for divorce. Not because I stopped loving, but because I finally started loving myself enough to leave. And maybe one day his mother will see the truth. Maybe she won't. But either way, I am done being silent. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is to admit that the marriage you thought would be your forever was only ever your fight alone. That's my story. Not the whole of it, but enough. Enough for you to understand why a 41-year-old woman finally chose survival over vows, truth over silence. And maybe, just maybe, that's what freedom really looks like. Thank you for listening to the story. Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.